Hello everybody, my name is James, hope you're doing well and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Max Verstappen's recovery drive in Brazil, as well as the penalty Oscar Piastri received. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Formula 1 content. Also make sure to follow me on X at James's Pit Lane, I'll leave a link in the description, but let's jump straight into the video. Now, as we know, it was Lando Norris who won the Grand Prix. It wasn't a straightforward victory given the pace of drivers behind him. Still though, throughout the race, it looked like Norris had the pace to keep things under control, and as I say, he won the Grand Prix. But driver of the day, Max Verstappen, what a performance he put in. I mean, Saturday was a bit of a disaster. He finished the sprint race in P4, but then changes were made to his car ahead of qualifying later on in the day, and the car was just not working for Verstappen, and he only ended up going 16th in qualifying, and as a result, Red Bull decided to breach parc ferme with Verstappen's car, make changes to the car, take a new Honda power unit as well, and start him from the pit lane for the Grand Prix. Now, the race said before the Grand Prix that by making changes, including rolling back on some of the risky changes that improved the problematic ride of the car but cost grip, it's hoped that the performance in the race will be stronger and allow for a better result. And well, it was a brilliant Grand Prix from Verstappen. It started off well, he overtook a few cars, but then he had a bit of a wobble. He had a slow puncture, so he had to stop early, and that looked to ruin his progress. Still though, Verstappen fought his way through again and ended the race in P3 and was very close to taking P2 from Kimi Antonelli. Basically, on the last few laps of the Grand Prix, Verstappen was all over the back of Antonelli's Mercedes, but because Verstappen's tyres were pretty finished at that point, he wasn't close enough to make a move. He was close enough to stay within DRS, but yeah, not close enough to make a lunge going down into turn 1, for example. Still though, to finish P3, what an achievement from Verstappen, and at one point he was even leading the Grand Prix, and he had the option to just stay out and see if he could hold on to the lead, but he didn't because his tyres were much older than Norris behind him, who was closing in on Verstappen at a rapid pace. But yeah, P3, an amazing result, and speaking about it, Verstappen said the race was quite full on, a lot of action. I had to overtake some cars coming from the pit lane. Our pace was quite strong overall. The stints to be on the podium, I did not expect that at all, even with a puncture at the beginning. That's why we had to box again. Incredible result for us, very happy with that, very proud of everyone. Now, this race was all about damage limitation for Verstappen, and I personally thought he would end up in P6 or P7 this race if he was lucky, based off what we saw on Saturday. But to finish in P3, that is really good damage limitation. Yes, Norris has extended his lead in the driver's standings still though, Verstappen is not as far behind as I thought he would be, and on top of that, he's now got a fresh power unit in the back of his car with 3 rounds to go. Norris and Oscar Piastri do not have a fresh power unit unless they want to take a penalty, so it'll be interesting to see how things unfold over the next 3 Grand Prix. But let's move on to Oscar Piastri, and as we know, he had a difficult Grand Prix with him only finishing in P5, and during the Grand Prix he got a 10-second time penalty. So what happened? Well, the incident happened at the safety car restart going into turn 1. Piastri was trying to move his way up from P4 to P2, but going into turn 1, Piastri made contact with Antonelli, who was to his right, who then went into Charles Leclerc, who was on the right of Kimi Antonelli. And while Piastri and Antonelli were able to continue, Leclerc suffered terminal damage to his car and as a result had to retire. Now, Piastri did emerge in seconds following that instance, but soon after he was handed a 10-second time penalty. He served that at the pit stop, but yeah, he could only go on to finish the race in 5th. My personal view was that at the pit stop he should have gone on to the hard tyres and just gone to the end of the race from there, but he went on to softs, so therefore had to stop again. But as I say, he finished 5th and he's lost a lot of ground to Norris in the driver's standings, while Verstappen has now closed in again on Piastri. Now, when speaking about the incident that resulted in him getting a penalty following the Grand Prix, Piastri basically said he couldn't just disappear in the Antonelli incident, and asked about any regrets, Piastri said, as quoted by Sky F1, "No, I don't think so. I had a very clear opportunity. I went for it. The other two on the outside brake quite late. there was obviously a bit of a lock-up into the corner, but that's because I could see Kimi was not going to give me any space. I can't disappear, but the decision is what it is. So why was Piastri penalised? Well, the stewards said in their verdict, at the safety car restart on lap 6, car 81 attempted to overtake car 12 on the inside of turn 1. In doing so, Piastri did not establish the required overlap prior to and at the apex, as his front axle was not alongside the mirror of car 12, as defined in the driving standard guidelines for overtaking on the inside of a corner. Piastri locked the brakes as he attempted to avoid contact by slowing, but was unable to do so and made contact with Antonelli. The contact caused Antonelli to make secondary contact with car 16, who was positioned on the outside and was forced to retire from the race as a result. Piastri was therefore wholly responsible for the collision. Now, the verdict also revealed that the stewards have given a further punishment to Piastri. He's not just got the 10-second penalty, he's also received 2 additional penalty points on his licence, with the verdict going on to say a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points are considered appropriate and consistent with recent precedents. Now, at the end of the day, I think giving Piastri a penalty was the right decision. At the same time, though, I do think Antonelli could have left more space on the inside, and perhaps if he had, then there wouldn't have been any contact between the drivers. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But that's going to be the video from me today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and until the next one, take care. Bye.